Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-through for a 2017 remix edition, trying to do this video better, cut it down a little bit. So the quadratic formula, what is it? Well, if ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then, okay, so if you've got a quadratic, that's what this is. This is a quadratic. And you've got it set equal to 0, then x will equal minus b, so the opposite of this number, plus or minus. That indicates there are two different answers for these questions. Big square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's what it is, okay? How is it used? To find x, okay? And what if we don't like using it? Stay tuned. I'll show you how to use your calculator. Now, if we've got a graph of a parabola, there are three different scenarios. Your parabola could hit the axis twice, and then have two real answers. Okay? Your parabola could hit the axis once, and you'd have one real answer, or your parabola could never hit. And if it never hits, then there are no real answers, and there are two imaginary answers. What? Alright, don't worry about it. Here's what you need to know. If you look at this thing called the discriminant, this thing right here, square root of b squared minus 4ac. If this is positive, then there's two real answers. Okay? If this is 0, then there's one real answer. And if it's negative, then you got to stay tuned. That's your imaginary. There's two imaginaries. Alright, that's it for the imaginaries today. We will come back to that, okay? We will strictly be dealing with these scenarios from here on out. Positive, real answers. So, here we go. So right here, this is number 1 and number 4 from your worksheet. This just shows you that it is in standard form. There is a 1 there, so it is showing you how to use this. So notice it's minus b minus a negative 4 plus or minus big square root of negative 4 squared. And maybe you would just put this in your calculator, but I'll show you how to do it by hand. A negative 4 is a positive 4 plus or minus big square root of negative 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 1 times 3 is 12 all over 2. So the answer to that one is 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 over 2, which is 4 plus or minus 2 divided by 2. So it's 6 over 2, or it's 2 over 2. So the answer is x equals 3 or 1. I got the 3 from 6 divided by 2, and I got the 1 from 2 divided by 2. Okay, now, this one isn't nearly as easy, so we will go slower because it's not written out for us. This is not in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You got to set it equal to 0. So, subtract 3 from both sides, and you get x squared plus 3x minus 3 equals 0. Notice that there is a 1 in front of there that you can't see. So a equals 1. B equals 3, C equals negative 3. Okay? So here we go. X is equal to negative 3 plus or minus big square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3 all over 2 times 1. So it's negative 3 plus or minus big square root of 9 plus 12, right? Yeah. All over 2. So it's negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 2. Now let's look at the difference between this one and this one. This one we had a radical 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So of course we kept going and we wrote our answer as humans would, like numbers, 3 or 1. But this one is nasty. The square root of 21 is not a nice number, so we will actually leave our answer like this. And by answer, I mean answers. This is two different answers right here. Okay? So that is our answer. I know, it's funky. What does that mean? Well, what's the square root of 21? I don't know. It's like a little more than 4 and a little less than 5. So it's like maybe 4.5. So this would be negative 3 plus 4.5. So about 1.5 divided by 2, 0.75 or so. And then negative 3 minus 4.5 divided by 2, and that would be like a negative 3.5 or so. Okay, so they are numbers, but we're going to write them like that so we can have them exactly. But let's look at another one and answer this question. Oh geez, this isn't working. All right, the question is, what happens if we don't want to use that form? Okay, what if we don't like using the quadratic formula? Well, luckily, there's an app for that in your calculator. So, first of all, we do have to do a little work by hand. 4x squared plus, excuse me, I need to subtract 9x from both sides. So 4x squared minus 9x plus 3 equals 0. Well, now that we have it set equal to 0, we can just go into our calculator, type in 4x squared minus 9x plus 3, enter, graph it. Notice we're going to have two answers, okay? Just zooming in a little, that's probably a mistake. Nope, that works fine. Okay, looks like one of the answers is in between 0 and 1, and the other answer is in between 1 and 2. How do we find them? We need to calculate, so second, trace. We want to calculate the zeros. Okay, and we got to find our little water bug. There he is. Hit enter on that side. Go over to the other side. Hit enter. Hit enter. And that is 0.4069 for x. So that's one of your answers for x. X equals 0.4069. Or, now we got to do the exact same process again. So second, calculate the 0. Take your water bug over to this side. Hit enter. Hit enter. Hit enter. So you got to get to the left of it, get to the right of it, take a guess. Your other answer is 1.843. So what does that mean? If you put these numbers in for x, you get 0 for y, and that's literally what we're trying to find. Those are your answers. That's the fast way. Now, if you're done with the video, I got a better program for you to use in your calculator, but you've got to download it from me. We've got to swap programs, okay? And so if you're done watching this video, I'd love for you to call me aside and make sure we can do that, and I'll show you the final way that you can use your calculator to do these. I hope this helps. Boom!